Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Unleashed Wrestling. I'm TJ.
And I'm Yorkie, and we have a big show planned for you tonight.
Yes, we do. So we missed our Raw review due to our schedules not lining up this week. So we're going to do a Raw review. We may throw in a little bit of what we watched on SmackDown tonight. But man, it's been an exciting week, and I can't wait to start talking about this.
Oh man, it's gonna be a big one. And Raw, it started off strong as hell Monday night.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Before we get into the Raw review, I want to know from our viewers down below, leave a comment. Was Raw showing a lot of interference for y'all this week? Because this sure as heck did with us. Like halfway through the show, the screen started flickering and everything. And at first, I really thought it was a Wyatt 6.
I did too there for a minute, and then it kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going, and I was just like, God, this is the first one on Netflix where it's starting to mess up. I don't know if it was just where they were at or what, but they were just having so many technical difficulties, during that show. And the end of the show, I really thought it was a Wyatt 6 moment there, just because all the sounds and stuff you had.
Yeah. And that was the best match on the card. And for there to be the worst interference, that was the worst match to do it in.
It really was. That was almost a Mania caliber match, in my opinion.
Yes, it was. The Raw kicked off Monday with a promo by Jey Uso, which took him about 15 minutes to start talking on the mic just because of his intro. But again, it was 2 nights after his Rumble win, so he was still hyped up. And the fans, of course, they're super behind Jey Uso.
There was a lot of emotion with that promo. Like he was.
Yes, there was.
Like, he was showing true tears, couldn't speak, and the fans, they were behind him 100% on it. I loved it. It showed the Raw reaction from him as an athlete. That he was getting the chance to do this and make it his. I am so proud of him for where he's came as a solo competitor, because he's always been labeled as the little brother to Jimmy and a tag team. So to see him strive the way he's striving, it's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And I wasn't sure. Sunday I posted a TikTok. I don't know, and those of you that follow us, we do have a TikTok. I have to post a link in the video. But I made a TikTok asking if WWE got the Royal Rumble winners right. And I said, I'm not so sure that they did. And I was mainly referring to Charlotte Flair, but part of me was wondering if Jey Uso was the right choice to win the Rumble. I think they made the right decision with Jey Uso winning it. I'm still a little bit biased because CM Punk didn't win, but there's still plenty of opportunities for Punk to make
over
main
event. He is a veteran. He knows what he's doing. Give him his time.
I know.
It'll come.
I mean, it will, and there's still plenty of opportunity. Well, I ain't say plenty. There's still an opportunity for him to make his WrestleMania main event, which we'll talk about that later on. But I think ultimately Jey Uso is going to choose Gunther. I don't see him putting him against Cody. If you watch on SmackDown tonight, they teamed up.
They had to
in the main event. Yeah, exactly. Because Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga came down and attacked him.
Tried to.
And yeah, well, and at this point, I don't know if you were watching, but I said, main event match, and then I went to leave to go get some food, and I had it on the car listening to it, and they announced it. I was like, yep, that was pretty predictable, but I just don't see them putting him against Cody.
Yeah, no, they're not going to pin him against Cody with all the heat that he's already got with Gunther. They may curveball us, but I don't see it happening. I think that the Rumble winner is getting Gunther, and the Chamber winner is going to get Cody. So,
absolutely.
We'll talk about the Chamber stuff a little later on. There's obviously some matches that were had that were qualification matches for the Elimination Chambers, male and female. So,
Penta versus Ludwig Kaiser, which I thought was a pretty good match. I like how they're pairing Penta up with these people who can compete with him as far as his wrestling style.
Yeah.
So far, they have at least. They haven't put him against a giant yet, but I was a little surprised there weren't as many big spots as there were. But it was a good match. I mean, what did you think about the match?
I thought it was a pretty solid match for what it was. It wasn't very high flyer, flashy, but it was a good, solid match, and it went on for a good little bit. They did a couple chops back and forth, because Ludwig, he came from that European style where
The dude's got some chops on him.
Penta, he came from that luchador style, and both of them, they kind of do the whole chop thing pretty big there. I expected there to be something come up to how the match ended and what happened after the match and everything. Just because of there's always going to be something with Ludwig Kaiser when it comes to that. Like that's just his persona, and it's getting old, but yet it still has meaning towards storylines. So it's like, on one hand, I'm tired of seeing the same stuff from him. On the other hand, he's doing his job and he's doing it very well.
He makes a great heel, and they're building him up. He's going to get a mid card championship here soon. It may not be at Mania, but I think they're pushing him in that direction.
I could see that. I really could. Now I'm just curious as to see if Pete Dunne, because that's what happened after the match. Pete Dunne kind of came in distracted, and then Kaiser did his thing where he attacked Penta. I wonder if there's a couple of ways that I think this could go. Either Dunne and Kaiser are about to team up, or there's about to be a rivalry between Penta and Pete Dunne. You had the Charlotte Flair promo.
That's your favorite person, Annie Yorkie.
I have a finger for that one.
The same finger Stone Cold Steve Austin used to use?
Yeah. Both of them.
Oh, yeah. So, promo was just a little flat to me. She came out trying to be a babyface, and she said that she's missed the fans and all this, and the fans started booing her, and she said basically that a year ago booing her would have bothered her, but she actually missed everybody. They kept booing, so she seemed to kind of flip that switch and kind of turn heel, like instantly.
It seems like they gave her that anti-hero role.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Like it's basically what Seth Rollins is, just worse.
So then she goes on to talk about how hard her recovery was and how she loves the WWE, blah blah blah, same old stuff. And the fans just did not seem to care about the promo.
I didn't care about it.
I didn't either. And then thankfully, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but thankfully Rhea Ripley interrupted her, and it kind of changed the tone of the whole promo because Charlotte was falling flat on her face in that promo.
When I heard "This is my brutality," I was like, "Thank Jesus!" It was flat.
Yeah,
it was a very flat promo.
It was. Yes, it was.
It was very obvious that she's not going after Rhea.
Yeah, it was. And then she made the comment that she's going to go to all three shows to see who inspires her the most. And tonight on SmackDown, she had another promo, and Tiffany Stratton came down, and then Nia Jax came down. So they're having a rematch for Tiffany's women's title next Friday on SmackDown. So Charlotte said, well, maybe I'll stick around and wait until next Friday to determine who I want to face. Basically saying, okay, if Nia Jax wins, I'm going to go after Rhea. But if you keep your title, I'm going to come after you.
Right. So it's set in stone because they're not stripping Tiffany Stratton of that title anytime soon.
Yeah, I sure hope not.
And I hope that that if Charlotte is to pick Tiffany, that she loses to Tiffany.
Charlotte goes on to call Rhea a kid, which is kind of funny because she said tonight on SmackDown that if Rhea was a kid and Tiffany was a child.
for her to come out and say that she didn't respect Rhea, and then Rhea's response to that, I loved it. Every single second of it. Because
I did too, because Rhea.
She basically said, I'm going to beat the respect unto you.
So then you have this backstage segment with Sammy and Jey Uso. Basically, Sammy was congratulating Jey on the win and all that stuff. And then Karrion Kross comes up and approaches Sammy and was kind of getting to his head. So it seems like Karrion Kross is trying to turn Sammy Zayn. Now that we've watched Raw, we're going to talk about this at the end. We know that's not happening. Sami Zayn's staying babyface. I don't care how hard Karrion Kross tries. Sammy ain't turning babyface. I mean, ain't turning heel at least until after WrestleMania. Maybe after WrestleMania something happens, but
as of right now, storyline wise, it's not happening. But I get what you're saying.
Yep. So then the New Day and LWO, the New Day comes out sporting new gear and a new entrance thing, which I thought that was pretty cool.
It was. I like the new entrance. I'm not gonna lie, I like the new entrance.
Yeah. But the New Day just seems kind of awkward. I don't know what it is. Ever since they've turned heel, and I was big on them turning heel because I've been defending them for the past few weeks, but I'm starting to think that it's just not working. Whatever they're doing with him is just, it's not working.
Can I disagree there and say that I kind of like the direction they're going with it?
Yeah, of course.
Because they have to build up this heel move.
They do.
They do. They have the heat. Now they have to build their story.
I agree with you on the story part of it, but just this past episode of Raw, I kind of got this vibe of, all right, they're trying to do something or one thing and it's not working, so maybe they should try to switch gears, keep them heel, try a different direction with them. I don't know. I just,
like I said, you just got to let it build up, man. Just give it a couple.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. But
they did
also a tag team, and the tag teams are not doing very prominent right now.
At least out of Raw. SmackDown, they're a little bit better, but they did get a win though. That was good to see. They finally got a win. Of course, it was thanks to Logan Paul, but
that was, and that's another thing. You know, the whole Logan Paul, Rey Mysterio that they're about to have, because that's next week for the qualifier match for the Chamber.
So then they show a segment about Roman Reigns' injury, saying that he's out indefinitely, which we all know is storyline. Roman Reigns hasn't been a full-time competitor in a couple years, so this isn't anything new
he doesn't
for
have
him.
To be, though.
No, absolutely not. I mean, he's so over. Even as a heel, he was over when he was tribal chief of the New Day. I'm not the New Day. The tribal chief of the Bloodline, when he was like this really mean, nasty heel, he was still getting over. So he didn't have to be on the show every week. It's going to be interesting to see where WWE goes with this storyline with the Roman, Seth, and CM Punk, which we'll talk about that again here in a few minutes as well. But then they do a backstage interview with CM Punk. It was pretty straightforward. He said that he didn't win the Rumble, but neither did Seth or Roman. Seems to me that they're building towards an Elimination Chamber / triple threat match at WrestleMania. We know Punk is in Elimination Chamber. I'm almost positive that Seth and Roman will be as well.
I think we pretty much it's pretty much set in stone. It was at Rumble. It's going to be, in my opinion, I know we kind of talked about this, but in my opinion, it really is. It's going to be Cena, Logan, CM Punk, Roman, Seth, and there's a couple of people I could pick, but I think I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre just because of the way the storyline's being built up.
Yeah, well, he qualifies tonight for the Elimination Chamber. He was in a triple threat match tonight against LA Knight and Jimmy, so you pretty much knew that Drew McIntyre was going to win that match, so it's pretty much said. I think I'm like you.
Or LA Knight. I mean, LA Knight had a shot to do it. I could have seen them pulling the move where LA Knight wins that match and he gets the chamber spot instead. Just because that could have made Drew's heel heat even better, but they didn't go that route.
So then you get Liv Morgan versus Io Sky in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. And I talked about this last week. I've been talking about this every week, but I love Liv Morgan as a heel.
Oh yeah, the whole thing with her and the Judgment Day taking over the Rhea role was the
Mm-hmm.
best thing for her right now. Like
Yep.
she needed that change, and it pretty much gave her that little bit of boost where
Yep. Absolutely.
when she had to take the championship because Rhea was
Mm-hmm.
injured, I wasn't mad at it.
Rhea does come down to the ring midway through the match, and she attacks Raquel Rodriguez just as a retaliation. So Liv gets a win via disqualification, and she qualified for the Chamber. Now, they show a backstage segment afterwards of Io kind of upset with Rhea because she cost her spot in the Elimination Chamber. And Rhea was, of course, trying to be apologetic, trying to explain why she did it. But I still think that Io will make it into the Chamber. I think they can give them like a last chance match because maybe like a triple threat with the losers.
I
For the
was about to
losers
say
to get
because they
in, I think
really
Io.
don't have that many people for a storyline when it comes to the chamber for the women's side.
No,
So
they don't, unless they bring.
I could see that triple threat thing happening,
Yep, I could too. Um,
or a fatal.
and then we get a
four-way.
match with the. Yeah, Fatal Four Way would be good, for sure. And then we get a match with the War Raiders. They were interrupted by American Made, and Chad Gable was out there talking how he's going to go on a quest to conquer the Lucha Libre wrestling, which you talked about last week, how he's got that vendetta towards them. So I'm wondering if they're going to show footage over the next few weeks, like vignettes of him, maybe in Mexico or Japan, and he's in the ring learning Lucha Libre wrestling, and maybe he's getting his butt whooped or something, and he finally conquers it. That they don't show you, or they show him conquering it, then he comes back as. I mean, he's still going to come back as Chad Gable, but
Can I
I don't know.
just say
It's
this heel angle for Chad Gable is amazing. I love
of
it.
course.
I love
You
it.
know who I do too. You know who he reminds me a lot of, and I'm glad they're incorporating this into his music. Kurt Angle.
Yep.
It reminds me a lot of Kurt
A
Angle, which is a
lot of that
huge
heel
compliment to
Kurt
Chad
Angle.
Gable.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're even doing the "You Suck" chants now, and I
Mhm.
think they've even incorporated that into his music. Part of Kurt Angle's music, I think they've incorporated that into American Made theme.
Yeah.
I gotta go back and listen to it, but
It if it's not incorporated, it sounds similar enough to where that the fans can put it in there.
exactly.
And
But before he left, but
and it's like we're watching Kurt Angle wrestling all over again.
it really, really is. And I was a huge Kurt Angle fan. I'm glad to see that, and I know Kurt Angle is giving him his praises right now.
Oh, for sure.
So when Chad Gable was in the ring cutting his promo, he looked at Ivy Nile and the Creed brothers and said, "When I come back, you better have championships across your waist."
Yes.
So I could definitely see the Creed brothers winning the tag titles. Ivy Nile, I'm not so sure they're going to put the IC title on her yet. They could.
If they might take it away from Chelsea Green.
Well, she's on SmackDown though.
That don't matter.
Unless they move them to SmackDown, they could. Or I mean, Lyra really hadn't done much with it either, but neither has Chelsea. I think she may have defended it once.
Yeah, and it really wasn't a good defense because she has Piper Niven by her side. So I mean, it is what it is.
I think you're going to turn Chelsea Green babyface. She's already getting the cheers from the fans. The fans love her. Piper Niven's going to turn on Chelsea. Remember, Piper eliminated her from the Rumble
Yeah.
accidentally. I think they're going to write that into a storyline. Chelsea's going to turn babyface. She's going to face Piper Niven at WrestleMania. So then it's time for the main event. But before the main event starts, here comes old Seth Rollins. And if you didn't watch Raw, Homeboy looked like the creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
No.
he he really did.
No, you want to know who he really looked like to me? He looked like he was about to dig through the ditches and burn to the witches and slam in the back of his Dragula. Straight up looked like Rob Zombie. I kid you not.
Yeah, I can see that. So, somebody made a comment about him looking like the Undertaker. I'm like, no, not even close. But no, he comes out and he congratulates Jey Uso. And of course, he was super happy that Punk got eliminated by Logan Paul. He talked about Roman Reigns. He celebrated that he lost the Royal Rumble and said that there's speculation about Roman Reigns' injury, but he can confirm that he's injured because he's the one who injured him.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, again, playing into the storyline.
Right.
And said it hurts that he lost the Royal Rumble, but he said that he's going to be in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match against Finn Balor in a couple of weeks. So that's going to be an actually really good match.
Seth Rollins, he kind of worked his magic, and then, it pretty much led into everything.
I mean, he calls Sammy Zayn down to the ring before the match starts. Tries to give him this big pep talk and talking about how Seth Rollins hates CM Punk and Sami Zayn hates him too, and reminding him that CM Punk said that he was not on his level. And Seth Rollins is clear that he doesn't want CM Punk in the chamber, obviously because he's intimidated and scared that he's going to lose to him. That's just me being biased. But Sammy looks really fired up in the ring, and he's starting to pace back and forth. And then CM Punk's music hits, and as Seth Rollins is leaving, he's walking backwards, and that's when Punk's music hits. So Rollins stops, turns around, takes his trench coat, his hat, and glasses off, and they start brawling in the walkway. So obviously, this rivalry is far from over.
Oh yeah, far from over. So
Yep.
that, as bad as I hate to say it, that tells me that neither one of them are going to win the Elimination Chamber, and that they're going to have their own match at Mania.
Possibly, or they're building up for one of the two to actually win the chamber and win the title, and then their first feud would be against that other person or Roman Reigns. But I still think, unfortunately, I can't say unfortunately since last year. I still think John Cena is going to win it as of now. I may change my opinion, but I didn't change my opinion about Punk, but I was set in stone, man. I was confident that he was going to win the Royal Rumble, and it didn't happen. So WWE will swerve you, so you got to be careful with stuff like this.
Oh, Paul Levesque. That's all there is to it. The man's a genius.
He's a genius. He absolutely is. Absolutely is. Ever since he's taken over, there has not been a dull moment on wrestling.
There really hasn't.
Or WWE.
Yeah. So we get into this match. The match goes on. It's actually a damn good match between the two of them.
Man, I'm glad you brought that up because I loved the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre rivalry. In my opinion, that was feud of the year of 2024.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Had to be. But this match with Sami Zayn was a match I've been waiting to see with CM Punk. Not necessarily with Sami Zayn, but this type of match because their styles are so similar. If you watch the match, they kept countering each other's moves. Like Punk tried to hit a GTS, couldn't hit it. And then Sammy tries to go for a Blue Thunder Bomb. Punk counters it. It was back and forth, man. It was a really freaking awesome match.
Then you get the hell of a kick. He actually lands the hell of a kick. Then, somehow, some way, Punk musters up enough strength to get up before he can hit him again with it and just kind of stops him, reverses it, puts him in a GTS. And so they both end up hitting a finisher. But, let's go back to the match itself. They work very well together. Like, you could tell. It was natural because, like you said,
yes, it was.
Their styles are so similar that it's not going to mess up. It's not. You're not going to see much botches in that just because of the similarities. So they pretty much know what's coming and know how to take it. So those type matches are more of my favorite because they are so similar, and they can actually make the match flow just like it's supposed to.
Well, Sammy and CM Punk is the same way, but they're both so good at making the other guy look good.
And they can.
They could actually go.
They can.
Yes, they can.
Sell.
They could have 10 matches together. 9 out of the 10 matches are going to be phenomenal matches. Let's say one of them has an off night. It would still have a fantastic match because the other person would make them look good. It would. Absolutely it would. But then, like you said, Punk finally gets a win, and then he kind of walks into the middle of the ring and extends his hand to shake Sammy's hand to, say, hey, great match. Of course, Sammy shakes his hand, and then CM Punk goes to leave the ring. But as he's leaving the ring, Kevin Owens comes from behind and attacks Sami Zayn, and I didn't see this.
Shocked the shit out of me because
Me too.
if you watch that Rumble match, Kevin Owens should still be laying in a hospital bed somewhere.
It was bruised up for sure.
Like he was beat up. Like he I don't know how he mustered the strength to do the power bomb, but he did. And man, whew.
Yeah. But when Kevin Owens hit Sami Zayn actually fell into CM Punk and knocked him out of the ring. We were talking about this on our Rumble reaction show about Kevin Owens, and you said this could be a potential setup for him and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, and that's exactly what we're going to end up getting. And Kevin Owens even talked about it tonight. He said him and Sami, were best friends, and he basically said that he betrayed him because he didn't do anything about Cody Rhodes winning at Royal Rumble,
Right.
and then he saved Roman in the Rumble match at one point, and so that's his motive to attack Sami Zayn. Which I heard this on a video too. They have had feud after feud after feud, and most of the time when you see the same feud over and over, it gets old. But Sami and Kevin could have a 10-year-long feud, and I don't think it would ever get old.
Yeah, I
really don't.
Completely. You know what I want to see? I want to see Kevin Steen versus what was Sammy's persona in when he had the mask?
I don't remember
that feud that they had, because they came up through the indies and everything together, and that feud that they had when back in the day when he was Kevin Steen, and it's slipping my mind what Sammy's was, but yeah, he had a black and white luchador mask that he would wear, and those matches were brutal. The way they worked together, it was insane.
And of course, they've been friends for the whole life. They kind of remind me of how close Edge and Christian are.
I was about to say
Sami and Kevin. Yeah, Sami and Kevin are the same exact way.
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting. That's going to be that's either going to be a good feud or a good Mania match, one or the other.
It could be a Mania match plus a feud. Potentially.
Could be.
We'll have to see. So overall, what is your reaction to this week's Raw? Did it live up to a post-Rumble show?
Yes and no. Yes, because it started storylines. No, because some of the matches were pretty stale. They got to slowly build this Netflix era, man.
If you like prediction videos or review videos, check out this video up above us right here. Click on the link and it'll take you straight to the video. Make sure y'all like this video, subscribe to our channel, share this video with your family, friends, coworkers, everybody who loves professional wrestling. More videos are coming. We're going to try to do more videos than just one a week, especially when it comes to reviews. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for that.
For sure. We also have TikTok. We post a lot of videos there as well. It's just getting started over there. We've only had it up for about 2 weeks now, roughly.
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
So we're slowly getting the TikTok side of things going. I think we already got an X, right?
Yeah, I need to get an X going, but no, we do not have X yet. Yep.
So we're working on an X. We have obviously YouTube, TikTok, and you can also find us on our personals. We'll have our personal X accounts below our little faces and everything.
Yeah, when the video started and we did our intros, you'll see our little Twitter handle or X handles there. So make sure y'all check those out as well.
For sure. Well, it's been a good show, I believe. What about you?
Yeah, I think it has been. More we get closer to WrestleMania, the more excited I get about what's coming.
This
can't
is my
wait.
Super Bowl.
Even yes, absolutely. I quit watching football because of wrestling. It's so good right now.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Again, I'm Yorkie.
I'm TJ. We want to thank y'all for watching, and we will see y'all in the next one.
Yeet.